Everybody, new studio, new intro. I'm just here to remind you guys before you listen to today's episode, make sure you follow the show and subscribe wherever you listen. If you watch the show on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there, you comment, you like, and you share. Also, follow my social media, all of it, both Instagrams, my Twitter, follow it all. Your life is to be consumed by my life. Tell everybody that you know about me. Start conversations with the fact that the Smoking Simian is your favorite podcast. Bombard everyone that you know and love with the Smoking Simian. Send them links day in and day out of my show, of the episodes, of my posts. Get thrown out of your house because the only thing that you care about is the Smoking Simian. Do it. Enjoy today's episode. Bob?
What's happening, everybody? Thank you so much for showing up on a Monday morning. I definitely appreciate it, as I do always, Mondays, Thursdays. Anytime you tune in is a great time. Last Thursday, I was very happy to have a guest again. Guests, like I said, are very scarce. It is tough to get Zoom guests when you've moved. Obviously, me being sarcastic. There's been, since the move, I've been forced to tighten up the belt, as they say. In terms of spending, but in reality, because of my lifestyle and what I'm doing, driving all around, traveling for comedy and this whole thing, it costs money. It does cost money, and gas is not fucking cheap, as you all know. So it's been an adjustment. It's been tough, but it seems like we're coming up on something this coming week, this week that I'm speaking to you now. We got some more money-making opportunities in play. I don't need to get into the details. They're all legit. I don't even need to say that realistically. But no, I got a couple jobs that I'm going to be working on, literally just to fund comedy. You guys know that. You guys know that I am all in when it comes to comedy. I am out here alone. The only thing that makes me not feel like a fucking bum is that I make my comedy every night. Like, I get to the shows that I can when I can, as long as I'm not having some fucking crisis. I really do try to put in the work and the effort, because that's what I'm relying on now, is the work and effort that goes into comedy. And it's not paying my bills, right? But that's going to change soon. I shouldn't say that. That's suggesting something that's not actually going to happen. I'm not going to be getting paid from comedy anytime soon. I wouldn't want that. I'm not, it's funny. Once you start something that you're not really getting paid for, something that you're just trying to get good at, and maybe you do want to take it seriously and eventually get paid and become a professional. And once you decide that, it's interesting the viewpoint you kind of have to take. It's like, I'm not good enough to get paid yet. No matter how good I think I do, no matter how good my friends think I am, no matter how well I do at a club one night or two nights or whatever, I am not in a place where people are going to offer me money to go do something at their club, to go perform at their club. It's just, I'm not there. But what I meant to say was the fact that I am starting 2 new jobs, hopefully this week, just to supplement. Guys, it is a big adjustment. Sorry, I'm sniffling and I'm sorry you guys got to deal with that. But I am realizing the adjustment that it takes to go from working in the restaurant industry or in the service industry and going to try and find a day job. Because a lot of the day jobs suck, right? I mean, service industry jobs sucks too, but the money that you make in the time frame that you work and the amount of time and all these things, it is way better than all this other shit. Like I said, everyone knows that my main thing is comedy, but as far as jobs go, I have already expressed that I am willing to do the 9 to 5, because that would ultimately give me more time to do comedy, probably get paid more, do the whole thing, take a little stress off my shoulders. But I have also expressed the interest or the viewpoint, if you will, that in order to be good as a comic or be good at whatever the fuck you want to do, you need to live like one. And not saying that that's a core piece, which is why I'm split here between, paying the bills and having some stability, between that and living solely to do comedy, which is tough, right? When you got bills to pay. If I was in a van driving across the country, it might be a little easier. Overhead isn't as much, and I could pick up money here and there. If I was getting paid as a comic and was driving around, that's different, So when it comes to working, right now I have a pretty open view about it. I would do a 9-to-5, but until a 9-to-5 comes along, one that's worth the time and the money and all that stuff, it's going to be part-time shit in nonsense fields. You guys know that's going to be the name of my book one day. Part-time shit in nonsense fields. Nonsense fields. That's going to also be a resort that I make one day. It'll be nonsense fields where there's just assorted objects and things to climb on, and just in a big couple fields, and there's no real theme or anything. People wonder why they're there and what they did, why they took the time to go out to a place called Nonsense Fields. But that's what I'll be doing, right? That is what I will be doing. So FedEx, I'll be working for FedEx, breaking my back, loading trucks part-time. Because again, the daytime jobs suck. If you don't have, I have a degree and I can't find a daytime job. I haven't even been offered a daytime job that's good. I haven't even come across a job that would be what I'm looking for right now in terms of stability and all these things. And everyone says, oh, there's so many out there. You have a degree, you could leverage that, and you could do this. Gots. I haven't seen nothing. I've been applying like a motherfucker too. LinkedIn, the whole thing. But I'm not making no excuses. I'm not crying here, but it's true. A lot of the jobs out there for people who don't have degrees or people who are trying to do something else in their life or whatever, there's not a lot. There really isn't a lot. And if we're being honest, I mean, corporate jobs suck too, right? Corporate jobs aren't any better. The only thing that helps is that you have a paycheck and the hours work well with what the fuck I want to do. Now, my fear with working a 40-hour job like that, 40 hours a week at one place and whatever, is that, I'll leave it at the end of the day not wanting to do shit, not feeling inspired or creative, not wanting to go to the open mics and that type of thing. And if I see that that's the case, then a decision needs to be made. I'm either going to go harder and force myself to do it, or I'm going to leave, ultimately. Or I'm going to decide that comedy isn't worth it, and fuck it, we'll stay in this job. Hopefully that last one doesn't happen. There we go. Coffee's there's nothing better than when your throat is bothering you a little bit and you drink a hot beverage. Nothing beats it. But yeah, so that's going to be one of the jobs. I'll be doing that at the beginning of the week. I'll also be still working at Mohegan, working hard for nothing, essentially. And then I'll be doing a packing job for a guy that delivers stuff to grocery stores. I'll be doing that real early in the morning, few hours in the daytime, really early. And it's just to supplement each other and pay bills and be able to still do comedy. That is number one important. But like I said, this last weekend, a little busy. I shouldn't say the weekend, if we're being honest. It was mostly Friday, right? I said, I had a long weekend. Not really. It was one day. I went to New York early. I had Friday off, which I rarely do. Normally, I work Friday afternoons. And this past week or last week, I didn't work, so I went to New York because I had a show at night anyway. I scheduled one the week before. And I was like, fuck it, let's hit some mics in the daytime. So I went. I got there probably around 1 o'clock. I wanted to do, Greenwich Village Comedy Club does mics all day. They do what is it, 1, 3:30, and 5. So I was hoping to get there to do at least one or two of those. Turns out they were closed. Whatever. I went to go eat at Chick-fil-A and spent $20 in Chick-fil-A on, I mean, realistically, Chick-fil-A is as much as they dislike the gays and make terrible decisions based on their mythical man in the sky and what he says. They got the best fast food. Okay, they do. Aside from all their shortcomings, if you're gonna make an omelet, you gotta crack a couple eggs. All right, nobody is fucking perfect, and Chick-fil-A as an entity is not fucking perfect. But I will spend $20 on a chicken sandwich, some waffle fries, and some nuggets. And yes, the fact that it's in New York is expensive too. But Chick-fil-A, fast food in general, has become really fucking expensive. Let me take some more coffee here. But what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, yeah. $20 at Chick-fil-A, and then I went to Broadway Comedy Club, which was a lot of fun. Broadway Comedy Club was great. Very cool place. Memorabilia on the wall. Awesome club. And I got to meet the manager. She puts on a mic on Fridays at 4 o'clock. That's what's dope about New York. You can do, if you get there in the afternoon or if you live there, you can do comedy all day and night. You don't get paid, obviously, but if you're a bum motherfucker like me, you can do that. So, Broadway Comedy Club did a mic there. 4 o'clock, got out of there probably 6, and then I had, a half-hour walk to wherever the fuck I was. Stand Up New York. Did a show there, early show. Two of my buddies came out, and they brought a bunch of friends. I ended up having like 9 people show up for me, which is always a good look. I did 7 minutes. I was first. It was a night of learning. I found that New York comedy, they're smarter, definitely. There's definitely smarter people out there. But they are a little judgier, is what I'm finding. They're a little judgier than if I do a show in Boston, which I haven't done in a while, but when I did mics in Boston or even in Providence, I'm finding the more depraved the people are, the less people have to look forward to in the community. They are going to laugh at whatever the fuck you want. When I did that show in that basement at the Best Western, I don't even know if I spoke about this yet. I think I did. I had a blast, but there were 4 people from Delaware heading to Rhode Island. So they were definitely broken down white people. They didn't know much about inflation or, anything that was going on in the world. But they were great. They were great. And when you go to places like that, it's awesome. That's why at the Comedy Connection, you kill. You have a great time. But in New York, I thought I had a decent set. I started off better than I ended. I had like good pockets of laughter. It was like kind of explosive. Like there were moments where it was a lull and then bang, big laugh, or I'd say a punchline, shit didn't work, find a big laugh later on. It was good. It was a set where I learned a lot about New York. Learned a lot about the New York scene that night. It was my 4th time there, so I mean, every time I do a show or whatever, I try to reflect and find something off of it. So that's what I got off that. And then, like I said, 2 of my buddies were there and their friends, and we all went out. And always a fun time in New York, late. And I was about an hour from Grand Central. And later on that night, I was having such a great time. I'm like, fuck it. I'm taking the 5:30 a.m. train. And I'm hammered, right? I'm hammered when I made that decision. You guys know, feeling supersonic, give me gin and tonic. That's, stiff drinks, baby. Stiff drinks. So, had, 5 or 6 of those between 3 different places if you count the comedy club. And then by the last place we were at, I was about an hour away from Grand Central. It's 4 a.m. My buddy's like, hey, you can sleep on my couch if you want. I'm like, fuck it. I didn't do that. I just walked. Drunk as a motherfucker, man. in New York City. Just walked an hour away. It felt like it was 20 minutes. And you're three sheets to the wind like I was, and just pissing on walls because when you're out there, you need to pee, and there's no public bathrooms anywhere. People pee all over the place. So that's what I did, and I stopped to get some pizza at a place that was open till like 4:30. I walked in at 4, got 3 slices, ate that shit on the way. Got shit all over my face, got heartburn from the pepperoni. Called my buddy James. I blabbered to him on the phone. I can only imagine what the fuck I said and sounded like. But yeah, and then I got to the train station. I slept the whole fucking way. Actually, I called out of work on Saturday morning at when I was getting the train at 5:15 or whatever the fuck it was, and I called out. I felt bad when I got back home. I was like, I should have went. I should have just went. But this little voice in the back of my head just kept saying, "You're missing out on $40. I think you're gonna be okay. I think you'll be fine. As long as I don't want to get fired from there. I don't want to lose the job because it is, a foot in the door. I plan on applying to places in there once I'm done with my 60-day probation." Again, not law probation. Ha! But, as wild as I am, or as wild as my mind is, I don't know if my actions are as wild. But I've never had any problems with the law. Not like legitimate problems, Never once. Which is a good thing. And ever since I was a kid, that shit scared the hell out of me. Once I found out people fuck each other in jail, oh my God. I can get ran up on by 6 dudes, get fucked by all of them? Oof. Keep me the fuck out of there. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. Just that's a terrible time, So ever since then I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess when I was a kid I was mischievous and stuff, but I rarely got caught. I was good. I was good at that shit, man. But that's not what the fuck I'm talking about. I got back here and I took all of Saturday off. I had to recover. I felt worse than I had ever felt in the 4 times that I had gone to New York and didn't sleep and whatever else. I was out of commission. I was completely out of commission on Saturday. So that was that. I had the whole fucking day off. And there's something about putting things off to the very last minute, like this podcast. It is Sunday evening. I should be chilling. But instead, I'm over here screaming at you guys about what the fuck I did. But yeah, had a blast. Always fun in New York. Doing comedy. What's going on in the world? There's fun stuff. There's plenty of fun stuff. There's a black hole that we've been able to capture a picture of. So once I saw that picture, which, by the way, I'm not questioning how legit it is because I'm sure it's very legit. It looks like, it looks like the startup screen of the old Xbox, like the original Xbox. It does. I don't know if you've seen the picture, but it looks like, nothing. When I think of a black hole, I think of this, like, infinitely dark, which, I mean, it was dark, but I don't know. I guess I had this image in my mind of what it would look like, but what it actually looks like, way less fucking cool. It looks like this cup of coffee I'm staring at, That's typically what it is. You hear about something that you think would be cool until they find a real picture of it, and you're like, wow, that's not as cool. That's lame. That's pretty lame. Until you see it in person, then it's different. Then it all switches up. You could see a picture of something that you thought was lame and then see it in person, and it's pretty fucking cool. Here's an example. The bulls on a horse. The balls on a horse. That's always, you see a picture of them, you're like, but then you see them in your real life, you're like, wow, those are actually magnificent. Those are superb testicles for mammals. But anyway, I don't know why I went off on that. The black hole found at the center of the universe, which or the center of our galaxy. I apologize. The universe is supposed to be something else. The center of the Milky Way galaxy. There is obviously all galaxies have a black hole. They're necessary, supposedly, after researching a little bit. They are necessary. They give the They give the galaxy that they're in their shape and their balance and the way everything is and whatever. So without the black hole, this should translate to life, right? Without black holes, nothing gets done. Without a massive, without a presence of something that is just only takes, it only takes, without the presence of something that mercilessly takes from whatever the ecosystem that is surrounding it is able to provide. All it does is take and take and take and take, and it never ever gives back. And it's completely devoid of light and life and all that stuff. It just sucks everything in. You can't have anything without a black hole. Think about all the progress we've made as humans, right? Think about cherry chapstick. Cherry chapstick. And think about how we can send pictures of our freshly shaven fucking taint to all our friends within a moment's notice. All our friends can see how well we did of a job, of a shaving job in a place where it's tough to see how you're doing, right? When you got to shave the gooch, the ABC. There's another one that is called the perineal, right? Or perineal is the one on the leg. Perennius? Who the fuck knows? There's another funny word for it. But, you can send pictures to your friends to see how, they'll be like, hey, man, did you see? Change the lighting a little bit. I want to make sure you got it all. We've been able to do that. And we wouldn't have been able to do that without sick motherfuckers. Sick people who were able to rise to the top by taking and taking and taking, never giving. Almost like all humans. If we, on the grander scale, you could say humans are the black hole of the planet, because without us, none of these cool that we can't, look at all these cool structures we have and all this technology we love to use. Without us, none of that happens. Without the humans we are now, right? None of that happens. The thinking, logical, well thought out humans that we are today. None of that cool stuff comes about. So, we're the black hole there. And then if you say with humans, right? If you shrink it down a little bit and forget about the whole Earth, now we just have humans. Now we have the big monarchs, the people who have all the power. They are the ones who are the black holes who move the human society as a whole now. The human society is driven by maniacal, power-ridden, soulless drones whose main purpose is to take and take, be devoid of light, be devoid of life, and never give. Rarely ever give. So I'm very happy that we found a picture of a black hole. But there's plenty of black holes walking around all over this planet, all the time. Plenty of them. Plenty of pictures, all different kinds of walks of life of black holes. Now, my question is, speaking of these human black holes, how long do we think before a billionaire tries to buy it? Real question. How long until a billionaire says, I think we got a picture of it, right? How long will it take us to get there? Oh, okay, 30 million light years. Okay, we can knock that down. We'll take some funding out. We'll get some grants, and we'll put something together that'll get us there in 30 days, and we'll be fine. We'll be good, and we can colonize it. We can put up gift shops. People can go visit the black hole. We'll make it affordable for people. Eventually, over time, things are expensive at first, but we'll take William Shatner with us to promote it. We'll take all different kinds of people to the black hole. It'll be we'll make a vessel where we'll all be able to live and breathe for 30 days together, and then we'll get to the black hole and we'll set up shop. We will set up shop right. We'll see if we can go inside. We'll throw somebody down there to see with a camera on them, and if we can go inside, then that's even better. and because we could set things up. I mean, I'm sure it's vast. I'm sure it's huge. I mean, how far does a black hole go? Who knows, right? They had to zoom in heavy to even get the fucking picture of it on the surface. So how long until, somebody reaches out to Andy Griffith to come with them to the black hole? Right on the outside, they'll put a big sign that flashes like in Vegas, right? Black hole, black hole. I think it's called Sagittarius A or something. The name of I guess you can name the hole. I don't know how they name it. I don't know how they name anything, really. I feel like it's very subjective. I feel like I've always heard that the person who discovers it gets to name it, and they can name it whatever the fuck they want. So maybe that's what it was, years and years ago, when they deduced that there was a black hole. They knew that it was there. They never got a picture of it, but they're like, all right, it exists. It definitely exists. It has to. So I'm going to name it whatever the fuck. So how long until we do that? How long until, Elon Musk just says, hey, we need to start getting people to this black hole. we can set up an event center. We can do concerts. We can live stream it back to Earth. It'll be nice. I mean, I don't think it'll be that long. But my question is, can we have a scientific breakthrough before some reptilian billionaire goes ahead and takes complete advantage of it? Can we just be like, can we bask in the glory of the fact that we found a dense, life-sucking black hole that is the whole reason that our galaxy is even together? The whole reason that the solar system that we live in is so perfectly placed and everything is just so well organized and nothing has gone wrong on a level like that, on an intergalactic level. Can't we just bask in the fact that we found a picture of the thing that is responsible for our existence as we know it, really? If we really deduce it down to what the black hole is in itself, without it, right, according to scientists, without the black hole, there's no setup there's no gravitational pull to keep the galaxy all together, the galaxy that we all live in, amongst probably other motherfuckers. But can't we just be like, wow, what a marvel, before some fucking tycoon starts printing T-shirts that says black hole, blackout, same thing, whatever the fuck, like something stupid, right? Before some person takes complete advantage of it and makes a black hole fucking concert where in the very specific place of the planet, I think it was in Chile where they were using a certain telescope, they find the exact coordinates of where you would have to be under the black hole, and there's a big concert surrounding it and music festival run by some fucking greasy corporation. It's how long before that happens? It's gonna be the next thing. It's the next thing. But it is funny though. We can't have a massive scientific breakthrough before a CEO money-grubbing motherfucker gets his hands all over it. Gets his greasy palms all over it. Just the idea that people can get shot up into space now. Just the fact that it's being cool, like it's being treated as something that's cool, something that people will be able to do someday. Like we have all the answers. We can just shoot a rocket up into the sky and hang out there. We know fucking all the stuff. We know all the stuff. I can't wait until space travel becomes something legit. And for the first fucking 5 years, 10 years, people are getting shot up into space, regular people, Southerners and Midwesterners and people from all over the fucking world. I don't know why I'm singling those people out, but I'm thinking of like, people who go on cruises, people who think they're getting a deal. We're gonna go to space. We're gonna have a good time. You know, people who financially can't afford a vacation that would be encompassing of the culture of wherever the fuck they're going. You get to sit and meet with the people and do all this stuff, or people who just aren't interested in that. People who just aren't interested in that. And granted, there's no culture out in space, which is why they would be interested in going there. Right? That's what got me to that fucking hypothesis of the first people that are going to go up into space. It's people who are not interested in learning anything about the place that they're going. So what's better than a place that has zero history? What's better than a place that has zero people, zero culture, zero anything? Those people who are drawn to that type of vacation are going to go to space. That's who are going to do it. And I can't wait for the first 5 or 10 years for commercial space flight to take off. It's affordable. People can do it. And one day, one of the rockets just gets sucked into some fucking wormhole that nobody knew existed. Or an intergalactic fucking being comes around with a spaceship and just locks onto the machine that you guys are up in the sky with. Locks onto your rocket or your pod or whatever and just fucking obliterates it. Just... and then we can start intergalactic wars and things, because it'll become we don't want that money to go out the window. We don't want that revenue stream to go out the window. We still want people to go to space. We want people to go to space and have a good time, and we want people who are devoid of anything that regards, human life or life in general, nature. We don't want any of that. The people who go out into space are the people who don't care about any of that shit. That's what it'll be. I'm thinking long term, right? The people who do it now are mega rich. They're doing it because they can. Ultimately, right? If you add billions and billions of dollars and someone said, you can do this, by the way, you can buy lions, you're going to do it, right? You can, buy that skyscraper, you're going to do it. So, and that's the same thing for anybody. Once it becomes affordable, it'll be a thing. It'll definitely be a thing. But what I'm saying is that watch when some shit that wasn't accounted for in space, a landscape that we know very little about, just like the ocean, right? Watch when someone goes out there and some crazy fucking shit happens. That's all I'm saying. But, hey, black hole, cool, right? Very cool. At least we get to see it. At least we get to see on it's like an after picture. I think, right? It's kind of like an after picture, because right now it's before and there's nothing in it, in the black hole. But if everything gets sucked in there, then it looks like, unless it closes, right? Like, what happens if you go in a black hole? That's probably crazy. I don't know. I don't know shit about any of that stuff. I'm just a shit talker. I'm just here screaming. I listened to an episode just because, again, I don't listen to my show in particular, which I think is partly a good thing. But when I do listen to the show, it's because I want to hear how I'm doing and how I facilitated the conversation if I have guests and what I sound like and whatever. And I find that when I have coffee, it's weird because I take sips and there's breaks. When it's only me, it's kind of strange. But I don't care because I like coffee. It's 5 in the afternoon. What is it? 5? Oh, it's 6. 6 in the afternoon for me. And I can drink this coffee and I'll go to sleep after. When I woke up this morning and my throat was starting to bother me, I'm like, I'm going to have a nice I woke up fucking tired. And I was like, I'm going to have a nice cup of coffee later on. When I do that shit, when I set myself up for something, when I say something in the morning that sounds really, really good later on, I always do it. Like if I wake up and I'm like, later on, I'm going to go on the best bike ride, or I'm going to hit the fucking bag, I almost always follow through. It's weird thing. But another fun thing that happened. I don't know if I've expressed this to you guys already, but I love cults. I do. I love learning about cults. I love reading about cults. I love learning about cult-like behavior, right? Because when we think of a cult, we think of, some fucking silver-tongued devil, right? Up on a fucking pedestal preaching to people who are dumb, don't know any better, they're impressionable. Sometimes they're young. Used to be they were young. The younger, the more impressionable, the better. It was that's what we think of, right? And it usually ends in some disastrous way, or the cult is vilified for doing some terrible fucking thing or a series of terrible fucking things over the course of time, and they're very strange. But we don't realize that there's plenty of cult-like activity in real life, right? If you go by that same definition or that same idea of what a cult is. We think cult, oh my God, crazy, Charles Manson, Jonestown, what are those guys? I forget the other ones. The seven something. I forget what they are. Whatever. Armageddon cults, all these cults that, believe the end of the world is coming, they kill themselves. Oh no. But when you think of the blueprint, it's very much like a religion, right? Very much like a religion. It's how religions were born, right? It's how a lot of these ancient religions that people still follow today were born. People don't know anything. They don't know what's happening. This one guy claims to have a connection to some other fucking person that everybody collectively is all in on believing about, and everyone knows, all right, this guy, he must know something we don't, and then all of a sudden you got a fucking globally recognized religion. Now, what fascinates me about cults, there's a couple things, right? There's the people who are involved. People who are involved, I always think about it. I'm like, wow, imagine how lonely and depraved and gullible, impressionable, so many words come to mind. Imagine how bad you have to be to join a cult, completely dive in, right? Westboro Baptist Church is another example. And willingly engage in the shit that's happening, right? I mean, I'm sure there's positive cults out there. You could call, the Catholic Church a positive cult if you wanted to. That's putting it, that's mincing words there. That's putting it pretty fucking lightly. But you could, right? Because it's ultimately giving people a positive thing. Not everyone that's involved, co-signs to fucking kids and all this stuff, even though you kind of are because you're involved. But whatever, you're supporting it. But whatever, it's fine. Okay, I get it. I understand. But the fact that a person can get so low or so devoid of human nature and whatever that they are completely willing to let go of all their possessions and become part of a cult. They're willing to completely take everything that this guy is telling you at face value. I mean, is it a bunch of 7th graders? No, it's grown fucking people, right? It's grown people. And there are some, right? They called the Osho, his gang, what the fuck were they called? Rajneesh Puram, that was the name of the Rajneesh, right? Is that what it was? They had the place in Oregon, and they took it over. It was called Rajneesh Puram, and they did the whole fucking thing. I spoke about it on here. Wild Country, or Wild Country, whatever the fuck it was. And they ultimately had some great views. They did weird things. Definitely did weird things. Got naked and screamed at each other in a room and wrestled around after that, had a good time and laughed, and then went back to screaming, and then people started having an orgy. It was just, some of that shit is weird. But ultimately, when they spoke about the good things, they had some pretty good views. which is the other thing about these cults. Some of the time, these guys have some pretty decent fucking views. They do, right? Everyone loves Charlie Manson. Everybody loves him. Because of the fact that he's actually pretty fucking smart. And you can see, wow, this motherfucker is pretty goddamn convincing. Okay, I would, in a heartbeat, kill a blonde woman in her house and all her friends if this guy told me to. This guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. No. But it, that's interesting to me. The people that get involved in a cult, and they're so willing, especially the gruesome ones, the people are willing to do terrible fucking things, terrible things. They just let go of everything, every belief system they ever had before, and all these things. They just let it the fuck go, and they are now ready to fully commit to this new lifestyle, shaved head, snip your balls off, whatever. They're completely willing to do it. Give up your kids to the leader. Just awful, awful, awful stuff. But ultimately, it is interesting how a person can just do that. That interaction between the leader and the person was so influential that they're like, whoa, I need to do whatever the fuck this guy is doing. It's like when Kobe Bryant was talking to Michael Jordan, and he ended up taking all of Michael's moves because he does it the best. There you go. Same thing. Except the cult is basketball. And Michael Jordan was the motherfucking leader. No, I don't care. I have no opinion on that. But I don't know. I don't care who's the best at basketball. Who gives a fuck? It's a child's game. Who cares? Who cares about basketball? I said it. As I speak right now, the Bucks are playing the Celtics in Game 7. You guys know who won. I don't. But anyway, the leader, right? The leader of the fucking thing is interesting, right? Because he or she probably could have, I don't know, are there female cult leaders? I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. I don't know of any. But a cult leader is a guy who probably would have been successful in other places because he's a self-starter, right? He's able to just get people and talk to them and convince them of things. He's probably be great in sales, great as a person who speaks publicly and is willing to, push a narrative or two. Like that guy could probably have a media career. Cult leaders. I'm sure that they would do very, very well if they had podcasts and if they just had a voice. See, that's the thing. That's the thing with the old school cults. They didn't get to have a voice. If they just had YouTube or whatever, they could have they could have an online cult. They wouldn't have to meet anybody. Think about the reach. Watch when cults hit the metaverse. Now we're talking the future, baby. We're talking futuristic. We might as well be traveling to that black hole. Hanging out at Black Hole Park, right in the center. Right in the center of that hole, just hanging out, listening to a guy speak in tongues after he's taken 30 sheets of acid, and everyone is just watching, and they believe in everything that he's saying and doing in the metaverse. Totally. That's the future. That is the future. That's what I think. But the leader could have been a great politician, could have done so many things. But it's that entrepreneurial mindset. It sets them separate from everybody else. They're like, no. I'm doing my own thing. We're gonna build a beautiful culture here. We're gonna build a nice company culture. Could have been great managerial positions, but no. This is the leader has something to say and isn't even interested in finding his audience. He wants to make his audience. He wants to create his own audience. People that may not be interested in what he's saying at first, but will eventually come around. Okay, yeah, I should kill my whole family. Yeah, that's right. Let's get on the plane. We'll go to Guyana. We'll all do it. We'll be good. This is going to be great. Yes. Very good. You know, and that's why that's slow burn. That's just like a salesman. You keep hitting them. You keep hitting them over time. You give them just a little bit, just a taste. Here you go. What about this? You thinking about refinancing? Wow. Okay. We'll talk after the holidays. You give them a call on the holidays. Hey, how you doing? That roof, it's looking rough. Rough summer. Rough winter. You know, you're going to have to, well, okay, well, you're getting a bonus. I'll call you after that. And then that's what a cult leader's doing. He's planting those seeds. And eventually, next thing you know, your whole family has no eyebrows, and they've all cut off their pinky toes and donated the blood to the wife of the fucking leader for her to pour it down her face over a fire or something, right? Some kind of crazy ceremony. And they're very, very creative. They had to have come up with this. Some of them have really intricate stories about how the world is going to end, or how there's some interdimensional being that they have a connection with, that they're gonna, or just ultimately being able to push an interesting narrative that nobody else has. We go back to the Westboro Baptist Church. I mean, those people are doing terrible, terrible, terrible things. But they ultimately aren't killing anyone. They're not, they're not harming people physically. They're not doing fucked up shit like that. Maybe they are. But they're mostly in the news and in the media and all that shit because of what they say, their viewpoints about things. They picket funerals of dead soldiers and gay people, saying things like, oh, God doesn't love, gay people and all this stuff. And just to even come up with that. Not only do you have to be a sick fuck, you got to be pretty fucking creative, right? Anytime I talk about creativity and creative people, I love the sick ones. I love the guys that had terrible fucking lives. But there's the fine line, right? There's the fine line. You could be a person who's edgy, lived on the edge his whole life, anti-establishment, all the cool things, right? Defied all the people who told him no and put it back in their face, and now he or she is creative, and they're getting paid for their work, and they're professional, and they're edgy, and they're cool, and they're authentic. Or you could be that same person and become a psychopath and lead a bunch of people to kill everyone they know and give all their money to you. That could happen as well. So those two aspects, and then to get the relationship down, to get the dynamic together between the leader and the group, the unity has to happen, and that is it's all very, very interesting, very crazy, and I love that. But I brought this up because recently, the leader of a Thai cult, Thailand, right? Thai, coconut chicken is what it's called. No. The leader of a Thai cult was just arrested this past week. I think it was this past week. That's when I saw it. I got his name written down. Thaw E Nanra, the father of all religions. I believe him. He was arrested after police found 11 dead on his property. So this guy, his shtick was great. He believed, okay? Well, he convinced his followers to believe that they had to eat his excrement, right? His piss, his shit, disgusting, right? His dandruff, mucus, just gross. And this guy's like 75. Not saying anybody wants to do that on any person, right? But there are some people that I'd rather eat their shit and piss, just people that are a little more respectable, right? This is an old 75-year-old Thai man living out in the woods in seclusion, all alone with a bunch of people who aren't in the age bracket of people that you would think would get sucked into a cult. Like I started this, I said usually in the past when you think of the Manson family and some of these older cults, they were taking advantage of impressionable younger people, right? Impressionable people who weren't mature enough to kind of see what the fuck is happening, right? What's slowly happening in this commune, if we want to call it that. But these people I saw, it was middle-aged and elderly, which is crazy, right? That's a paradigm shift. Because you would think the younger the person is, the less experience they have, the dumber they are, the more willing or the more possible it is for them to get caught under the spell of a cult leader, right? You would think that. But if we look now, and it makes sense, right? If we look now at things like QAnon, where we got a bunch of older people involved, again, QAnon, cult-like activity. Cult-like activity, right? They didn't kill anybody. They didn't do anything. They went to the fucking insurrection. That's great. They didn't do anything bad. I mean, the act of them going there was bad, but they didn't fucking hurt anybody. They didn't do anything that a real revolution, right? I've talked about it on here. It's the lamest, softest revolution ever. They didn't do anything to anybody. They didn't even shit. People didn't even shit in desks. At least shit on a desk. Do something. Piss in a coffee cup. I mean, Christ. What kind of revolution is this? You know? But ultimately, we're thankful. No, nothing too bad happened. But think about all the people that are involved in QAnon. The stereotypical person is the boomer, the older person. They fell for it. They fell for the QAnon fucking... If you take that model and you just bring it all over the pond to Thailand and mix the message up a little bit, you know, it's kind of, you can see why it's a little different now. Why older people are a little more inclined to fall for this shit. Because we're in the younger generation, my generation, I guess I'm considered Gen Z, right? If you're born after 95, you're Gen Z. I'm one of the older Gen Zs, I guess. And we're keen to a lot of the bullshit that happens online. Not saying that that's what this guy started, Mr. father of all religions here. Not saying that's how he did it, but it's just interesting that you wouldn't think elderly people or old people would want to do anything, even middle-aged people. You're just gonna let's switch it up now, baby. It's usually them swinging, right? That's usually what it is. That's the biggest switch that middle-aged people do. They swing. You know, hey, let's fuck each other's wives, Bobby, let's do it. Like, you know, Janice is down for it. Let's have a fun time. We'll drink a couple of cocktails, some Manhattans, and we'll go at it right in my house. I don't mind. We'll put the records on, and, you know, that's what they do. That's their big shift for older people. But the elderly are pretty much set in their ways. You know, a lot of them. Why are they all of a sudden going to go live out with this fucking dude who's also old, right? 75. I guess it's a demographic thing. Young people aren't going to listen to a guy that's 75 years old. I could see it. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of logistics that go into, starting a cult. It's almost like starting a business, right? You got to find out who's going to buy, who your market is. You know, it's the same thing with a cult. So this guy was, he basically said that he could heal illnesses with his bodily the shit that comes out of his body. This guy completely convinced these people that was true, and they found 11 dead, which they think, which he says, they died from the treatments that he gave them. Wouldn't that... Now, if you're a smart person, right? If you're a person who's like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot. This guy is convincing. His long gray hair looks nice. I want to see what's going to happen here. Okay? I'll hang out with him. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay. That girl's got strep throat. He's going to shit in her mouth. Okay. Wow. 2 days later, she's good. Okay, all right. And then this happens a couple more times. Okay, I believe it. And then another time, somebody dies. Okay, a little alarming. Maybe we shouldn't be, eating this guy's dandruff and, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, but it was one. Okay, it was only one person. 11? After 11, there's still people willing to eat this guy's mucus? After 11, there's people that are still willing to listen to what this guy says? If he's telling the truth that how they died was the treatment that he gave them. If that is the actual truth, then, and I wonder if that's what he told the people. I wonder if they were able to deduce, which they probably weren't. I can't imagine people in cults are very forward-thinking and introspective. I don't know if they're capable of critical thinking and deduction and that type of thing, but they are, these people were still convinced after 11. Yeah, or maybe he just said, no, they left, they disgraced us, so fuck them. I can imagine that being a thing too. But the funniest part of this whole article, right, aside from the fact that there's a 75-year-old man who, when did he start the cult? They don't have a ton of backstory on this guy. Did he have a normal job? Was he like a fucking insurance broker or something in Thailand? Or maybe he, ran a bar and he got out of the business at 67. And he's like, time to live life. Let's start a cult. I have this beautiful land out in the woods. Let's move everyone in and start feeding people my ass. Let's start doing that. Was he like an accomplished man before? Was he like a young military man that he came back with some money in his pocket and started a little something? And he said, you know what? I worked hard in this life. I had a lot of fun times, spent time with a lot of women, had lots of friends, loads of good times and good memories. Let's add to that. Let's go out with a bang. Let's start a cult. Let's say that I was able to do everything in this life. I've done it all. I've been to the corners of the earth. I've made plenty of money. I've been with the best women, every woman you could imagine I've been with. Time to round this journey out with a cult. Let's get some people under my control. That's the one thing I miss from owning my cobbler store in Bangkok. I miss having people that I could tell what to do and they would listen. And now I'm old. I don't want to start a business. I got all the money in the world. Let's start a cult. Let's get the old email list going. We'll get some, I'll call up the old marketing manager. We'll figure something out. And we'll get this going. The funniest part about this whole thing was I had to write it down. What they charged him with. 11 found dead, right? There were 11 people that died. And according to him, it was because he spit in their mouth and whatever. They died. But they charged him with, encroachment of forest land and violating public health. I wonder what the legal system is like in Thailand. I mean, prostitution is legal, right? It's the prostitution capital of the world. That doesn't make them bad or good or whatever, but that's what it is, right? Prostitution is legal there. And it's romanticized, right? People go there for it. There's children that have to fight as Thai boxers to make money for their families. There's, people have probably awful health care if you look at their teeth. Right? If you look at the conditions that some people live in, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who have lovely lives in Thailand, but if I had to assume, the majority of it is rural and people are farmers and that type of thing, just like anywhere else. So it's just funny that there was a dead guy and they charged this guy with environmental encroachment. Oh, there was 11 people dead, one dead guy. There was a dead guy. 11. Add 10 more to that dead guy. There were 11 fucking dead people, and they're like, this guy is fucking up this land. Look at all these. This used to be prime land, and this guy is fucking it all up. He's going too far with the zoning laws, and we're going to get him on that. And he's violating health fucking protocol. Violating public health. I don't know if it's public health, right? It's kind of a private commune, right? He's not real. I mean, maybe those people leave and they can go out and give their diseases to other people, which would be bad. You know, you don't want to do that. But a pandemic might not spread out of them, you know? Violating public health, yeah, but these people are doing it willingly. It's on a private thing. I don't know if that's a real charge in this situation, you know? I don't know. I just thought that story was interesting because you don't hear much about cults. I've spoken on here before about the lost art of serial killing. Not a lot of serial killers either. It's tougher to get away with. Cults, tougher. They've gone mainstream. Tim Dillon had a great bit for a while that he was doing. It was about how people who own Teslas, they act like they're in a cult. You know, it's their life is behind that fucking electric machine that they bought. So it's gone mainstream. You know, businesses realized that cult leaders they're like, you know what? These guys got something right. They got something right. So it's rare. It's rare to hear about cults, not like you used to. You know, they don't make them like they used to. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening yet again. As far as comedy goes, when's my next date? May 22nd. May 22nd, Comedy Connection, Providence, Rhode Island. I was supposed to do Poppy Champlin's in, last Thursday, but the place burnt the fuck. The place got burnt. There was a fire, so it got canceled. So next is Comedy Connection, May 22nd. I got nothing this weekend. Just banging out open mics, trying to put the pieces together, people. But, guys, thanks for listening. You know, thanks for making the accommodations to get in your car or put your headphones on. And that's it. That's it. I'll talk to y'all on Thursday. We got episode 200 coming soon. We're going to see what we can make happen with that. It looks like we might have a couple guests come through. That's it. I've wasted enough of your time. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to y'all Thursday. Peace.
Hey, I'm back to reiterate all the stuff that I said at the top of the show. Follow and subscribe. Bye-bye.